Welcome into KSL Sports Rewind, our 5 burning questions, as always, presented by Tab Bank. Don't pay to bank, get paid to bank. Want to thank Tab Bank for their sponsorship of KSL Sports Rewind. Dane Stewart, Jeff Hansen here with you. Our 5 burning questions. We're going to dive into 5 questions from week 3, maybe into week 4 a little bit. Let's dive right into it, Jeff. Our first question: which position is the strongest across the state this year?
Coming into the season, I wouldn't have even hesitated to say quarterback.
Yep, I think most people would be there with you.
Running back, offensive line, there's been some good secondary play. They've made it a conversation. I'm still going quarterback.
Okay.
The quarterback play in the state of Utah has been fantastic. You've got the headliners, guys like Keneal Sweetwine, Helaman Kasuga, Trayden Bessinger is putting up video game numbers, Nate Dolly, Camden Lopati. Everybody knows those guys, including all the college coaches. I mean, that's the top tier. But even behind that, there's elite quarterback play. Jack Savage, Ledger White, Ryder Hales, Boston Fountain. I mean, there's been a lot of really, really strong quarterback play. You look at the teams that are going to show up in our top 25, almost all of them have had stellar quarterback play. To me, it's the quarterback position. This isn't high school football in Utah 20 years ago. I mean, teams are able to spread it out. Quarterbacks are very, very good, getting very good coaching. It's been a lot of fun to watch the offenses this year.
Look, I think it's a great take, and I think agreed. Most people would say the quarterback position. Let me throw a couple others in there worth consideration. You mentioned running back. I think that's true. Safety is one that's been really strong this year as well. But look, your quarterback is only successful if he's got receivers to go with him. I'm going to talk about some of the receivers because I think this is a group we've not talked a lot about, but it is just as strong as the quarterback position. Let me give you some names. We talked about the Pulas at Lone Peak, Jaron and Keenan. That's enough right there, right? I mean, they're good. They are so good. And one of my favorites has ever been, on our top 5 last year, making the comparison of them with a yak because they're big and fast and footing, and they just complete packages. Graham Livingston, we talked about him this week in our best of. Legend Glasker, future BYU Cougar. Kai Meza. How about a youngster in Jack Itaihau? I think I'm saying that right, at Davis. Dennis Tuaone is a sophomore. Like, there's a lot of guys. We've seen Cash Taisi. There's a lot of receivers.
Bodie Sparrow.
I didn't even mention Bodie. Yeah. You've got seniors, juniors, sophomores. This receiver group right now is just so talented. It's unreal. And obviously it helps the quarterbacks out, and the quarterbacks help the receivers out. But the receiver group for me is deep at the top, and it's got youth as well. You've got young kids making big-time plays. Got great core of receivers mixed throughout the state this year. All right, let's go to question number 2. What start has surprised you the most through 3 weeks?
There's been some really impressive starts, but the most surprising start, I did not have 3-0 Box Elder on my bingo card. Box Elder has played really good, and they've played really good on both sides of the ball. Notebook of Knowledge time, huge offensive numbers. They've scored 58 and 64 points. The only time they didn't score 50-plus was when they were beating up on a Layton team that's a really good Layton team. Box Elder has been great. They've only allowed 20 total points through 3 games this season. Box
good.
Elder's playing good on both sides of the ball. That surprised me. We expected Box Elder to be good. I did not expect them to play this good on both sides of the ball. Judd Howells, he's running like Dak Sumko. He looks like a Box Elder running back that does really good things. They've got a long history of those up there in Brigham City. I don't think anybody expected Box Elder to be 3-0, and certainly not to be so dominant in the process of getting to 3-0.
Well, they were on my list because I agree. I think the way that they've won games has been super impressive. That region is going to be competitive this year. Be interesting to see what the Bees can do come region play. Certainly will be in the mix of it. That's a good one. I'm going to go with Springville, and for me, it's one where we know what Springville is. Really good defense, can run the football really well. For me, it was who they've done it against. You talk about an opening win against Alto. You talk about a win against Green Canyon that I had expectations for this year, and I think they'll be really good. And then coming back and getting the win against Provo, and the way they've done it, because it's not just run the football. Yeah, that's their MO. It's what they like to do, but they can throw, and that defense is really good, and the O-line continues to be strong. I thought Springville would be good, but when you see how the year's kind of shaken out in the early parts, no, that team can go win a region. Yeah. Now, week 4 is going to say a lot about that because they'll take on Orem this week, but we're going to learn a lot about Springville and Orem and where those 2 teams will shake up in the region this year. The 2 favorites in that region, but you look at 5-8, this is a Springville team that can make a playoff run. Like, they are that good. So for me, we had expectations of Springville. They've just been better than what I expected. So I'll go Red Devils.
Huge opportunity against Orem.
Huge. Oh,
Springville
man.
looks good against Orem.
This is legit.
Suddenly Orem.
You're talking state title contender.
Everybody in 5A starts looking at this and say, whoa.
Speaking of, let's stay in 5A, shall we? Our next question, which 5A team are you most confident in moving forward?
You know, that's tough. Springville was on my list. They're one that I feel really good just because of the way that they're built. They don't have to have flashy offense. If quarterback play isn't there or whatever it is, if there's weather, if it's cold, the way they're built, I think, is built to win. I got to go to Fremont, though. The way that Fremont has played this year, look, they fell to Corner Canyon. A lot of teams do, but they've looked so good against Weber. They looked so good against Davis. There's something special happening up there in Fremont with Manasseh Tuatagaloa, with Cade Hadley, Celeste Moa. The offense is there. Slade Parker has stepped up in the last couple of weeks. Big receiver threat for them. But the physicality on defense, when you look at 5A, it's wide open, and I think that they're going to continue to get more and more confident. As they get into region play, they're going to feel pretty confident as they get into the rest of their schedule. So they're going to win a bunch of games. They're going to feel good. I think Fremont's a team to watch. I feel pretty good about where Fremont sits right now.
That's a good one. I mean, they were battling with Corner. It gets away from them in the second half, but they would not go away early on in that game. I like that one. I'm going to go to a team that we just saw. I'm going to say the West Panthers. Look, when you look at 5A and how it's shaken out, and you've seen some of the early losses and some of the teams we thought would be favorites, for me, even though West walked away Friday night with a loss, the way in which they battled with American Fork, the situations that defense was put in, and really minimized the damage, and then you saw that offense get a lead late, and doing that against a really good American Fork team. This is a really good American Fork team. The last 3 years, prior to Friday night, I think these two teams have played, and the score has always been in favor of AF, and it's been a 20 to 30 point advantage for the Cavemen. This year, AF has that lead with 4 minutes to go, or West has that lead with 4 minutes to go. Now, they lose, but the way in which they played, and again, when you look at the totality of 5A, I think they'll be in a battle for it this year.
I think so.
But we talked about, if not this year, it's got to be this year, right? And I think the roster construct, everything else, I think they can do it with Louis Hamilton. Got to stay healthy, and I think that's one of the big things for 5A is whoever's healthiest is going to be best positioned in 5A, because I don't know how much depth there is across the state, but this West team, they're physical. The defense is legit. Could be a year for them.
Yeah, I agree. That game against American Fork, though they walked away with the loss, they weren't outclassed. It didn't look like they didn't belong on the same field as American Fork. That was a tightly contested game that if there were 5 quarters, maybe it goes another way. West's the real deal.
Penalties hurt him in that one too, right? You got to clean that up. You clean those up, you might get a win in that one, but that's another story. All right, our next question, number 4. Who had the most clutch performance, or what was the most clutch performance in week 3?
Well, I'm going to stay right where we're talking, American Fork and West. Prince Afu. He was so good running the ball in the first half. West made some adjustments in the second half, and they kind of bottled him up, at least by his standards. He's averaging nearly 9 yards per carry. He was only getting 3 or 4 to start the second half. And they kept going back to him. American Fork just kept feeding him the ball. And West did a pretty good job, but it was that last American Fork offensive drive. Keep feeding Prince Afu, and expect something to happen, because he's been that guy all year. He breaks a 20-yard run to get into the end zone, have the go-ahead touchdown for American Fork. I thought that was a huge performance. He didn't let his confidence get down as he slowed down a little bit at the early part of the second half. He didn't get frustrated. He just kept going. And that says something to me about how that whole American Fork DNA is this year. I was really impressed with Prince Alfred.
Super good. Manuela was pretty clutch too. I mean, you talk about some 4th down, 3rd down runs, 3rd and 6, 4th and 6, able to convert some of those. He had some clutch runs to keep that game-winning drive going for American Fork. I was going to go Cedar. You already talked about that game, just the comeback in the 4th quarter. So I'll switch and I'll move to Farmington. How about Jackson Bynum? This game, Farmington up in Idaho, playing in the Rocky Mountain Rumble or whatever they call it up there at Holt Arena. And this is a game they're playing against a team from Idaho. This is a tie ball game. It goes to overtime, and they get the stop in overtime. Farmington, you just have a 23-yard field goal to win it. Jackson Bynum comes up with it, hits it in overtime, 10-7. Farmington gets the win. Look, it was a tough week this week for Utah against out-of-state competition. Farmington, one of the few victors in out-of-state, but Bynum with the game winner in overtime, game on the line. Want to give a shout-out to the Phoenix. Got a kicker, and anyway, that Farmington team, a couple nice wins early. They'll get some building going as well.
Yeah, Coach Fiafia's got a good thing going there. That team, they're playing with a lot of discipline this year.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get better as the year goes on.
All right, our final question here. What week 4 game are you most looking forward to?
The obvious answer, Clearfield and Ogden.
Clearly.
The Falcons' quest for 500 rolls on. 2-1. First time since Andre Dyson was coaching.
Did you just pick Clearfield?
I will always pick.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter what the scenario
You can go watch it. He'll double down on it in our picks video. So go watch that and yeah.
100%.
All right.
But Clearfield is a big game against Dog.
Huge game
for the Falcons. I've been kind of foreshadowing the game I'm most excited for the last couple of weeks. Braden Larson at Mountain Crest. He was great again against Logan.
Big game.
Ridgeline. We talked about Ridgeline in our best of video. They looked great. Nate Dolly looks great. Those two teams link up. That's going to be a huge game in that region. Mountain Crest and Millville. For those of you unfamiliar with where Mountain Crest and Millville are, those are the two closest schools in Cache Valley. These are the rivals. When Ridgeline was opened up, they took a lot of those Mountain Crest players. This is a rivalry, and both teams are really good. They're both undefeated. Both quarterbacks have played spectacularly well. I'm really excited to see what happens in that one.
What we need Mountain Crest to go a little neon with the orange, and then we can call it the Neon Bowl, right? You get the neon lime green, you get the neon orange. I'm not advocating for that. I love the look from Mountain Crest. That's a great game. Mountain Crest was having a great start last year too. Had to play Ridgeline early, didn't go their way. See if they can get them here in 2025. That'll be a big time matchup, and one that, well, go watch our top 25 video. You'll see how we feel about that game. It's going to be big. All right, I'm going to go 2 games here. We talked a little bit about Springville-Orem already. That's a huge game, a big litmus test for the Red Devils. So I'm not going to go there, but it is another big one. How about Lone Peak at Bishop Gorman? The reason why I'm sharing this is you think about 2 weeks ago, Corner Canyon goes down to West Broward. They get the win in Florida. Now you've got Lone Peak going on the road to Gorman. I don't know the last time Utah sent 2 teams on the road to Florida and Gorman and went 2-0. Yeah. This would be a big, big win, not only for Lone Peak, but for the state of Utah as well. Huge. As it continues to build its kind of national profile. People are aware of Lone Peak. They've won out-of-state games. They're aware of Corner Canyon. They continue to be the flag bearers. Lone Peak, they do this week again. You've got 2 teams that really probably could be Corner's in the top 25. Lone Peak gets a win, they'd be 4-0. They could also be in the top 25. This is a huge game for the state of Utah and for Lone Peak. That'll be Saturday. You can watch that on KSLSports.com. Our boys Jeremiah and Sly going to be down there. Going to be a big one. Big one for Lone Peak. Can't wait for this one.
It's a huge opportunity. You look at what Corner's win over IMG did for them last year on a national scale. Yeah. If Lone Peak beats Gorman at Gorman, that's the same kind of reputational boost for Lone Peak this year.
Again, 2 weeks after Corner just goes to Florida and lays the wood against a team that is really good in Florida. So huge week. Can't wait for that one. There are games this week. A lot of good games this week. Go check out our picks video. We'll go through and we'll pick them. But want to thank you for joining us, our 5 burning questions. Check out our other content. We've got our rankings video. We have our top 5 video, all sorts of content. No one brings you more high school coverage than right here on KSLSports.com. For Vince Francis, Jeff Hansen, my name is Dane Stewart. Thanks for joining us on our 5 burning questions presented by Tab Bank.